Where you are today is as a result of the habits, the choices, the decisions, and the actions that you've taken. To start taking responsibility of your life, I entreat every one of us to take stock. It was Socrates who said, the unexamined life is not worth living. If you don't examine your life, I think you shouldn't be living. People keep saying, YOLO, you only live once. Don't also go around saying that you only live once, so they can fool around like that. Because that's what it means. You only live once. And I think a lot of people have normalized that saying. But you don't only live once. You die once, but you can live.
Welcome, dear listeners, to the School of Growth podcast. We are thrilled to be your guide on this transformative journey. Join us as we explore the realms of personal development, unveiling the path to becoming the best version of yourself. Get ready to dive into inspiring conversations and practical insights. I'm excited to have you with us. Let's embark on this journey together.
I welcome you all to the part 2 of School of Growth. And before I start, I just want to encourage every one of us that in sessions like this, when you are given the opportunity to talk, take that advantage. You might be surprised that some of us were once like you, who didn't know how to talk to anybody. We were also sitting down when they say, oh, do opening prayer, or what is your name? We'll be dodging, we'll be hiding, looking for something to do. But today I can sit before you and then I can deliver an address to you, because those little opportunities I didn't take for granted. I remember one time I was asked to lead opening prayer at Wednesday service, Teens Church. And although it was an evening service, I kept saying, this morning. It was quite embarrassing, but today we are here. So don't be hiding from some things like this. You might be doing a job that you don't interact with people today, but tomorrow you might be put in charge of some small group. They'll say you're a unit head or you're an office head. And it is meetings like this and how we conduct meetings like this that you would remember. So don't take advantage of church gatherings like this. Someone said that the church is a place where you can learn and grow at no cost. So you come for sessions like this. You see when we came, we were waiting for the sound, for the cameras. I said, let's introduce ourselves. The comments I was making, just so that everyone feels at ease. You can learn that. So you go somewhere, maybe you've gone for an office retreat, and then they say that, oh, Ethel, come and lead us today. You have to know what to do, because you've been in Teens Church, you have been in youth ministry. We play games. There are days we do rock, paper, scissors. One time I went for a retreat and the people who were the organizers, they didn't know what to do. So I quickly went and said, oh, let's do rock, paper, scissors to get everybody at ease. And then I said, oh, our head of department has a gift for the person who wins. He didn't even know, but I put him on the spot. We did rock, paper, scissors, and everybody played, and then we got a winner, and he had to find something for the person. So where did I learn it? Teens Church, youth ministry. So don't take these things for granted. You might think, oh, today I'm a student. So one day, even as a student, you do project work, and they will say, come and defend your projects. And if you are like one of my lecturers, you cannot hide. The person who opts to start the presentation will say, no, I don't want you. He will point to someone at the back hiding, that you come and defend the project. So let's not take these things for granted. Last week, I started with 2 stories. And the first story I started with was a story of 2 boys who wanted to embarrass an elderly wise man. So they said, this man, he assumes that he knows everything. He thinks he's the all-wise one. So they decided to test his wisdom and his all-seeing ability. So they caught a bird and they said, we'll put this bird behind us and we'll go and see this man, and we'll tell the man that, tell us whether the bird is alive or dead. If he says the bird is alive, we'll squeeze the bird. and the bird will die. They will say, oh, you see, the bird is dead. You didn't know. If he says the bird is dead, we would release the bird which is alive, and we will say, oh, you didn't know. And the old man started laughing, and they were surprised. They're like, why are you laughing? And the old man said something. He said, whether the bird is dead or alive is up to you. And they were surprised. Why am I saying this? Whether you do well in life or not, you would be surprised that it is up to you. So let's not take these sessions for granted. And we've created this session so that certain things will come our way. Wisdom nuggets and things for you to take action on will come your way. And you can look at these things and say that, oh, I can do this, I can do this, I can do that. And you turn your life around. Now, I started last week with a story from 2 Samuel chapter 6, verse 11 to 12. And it was a story about a man named Obed-Edom. Some people call him Obed-Edom. You might have heard it in the podcast from last week. And Obed-Edom had the ark of God in his house. And Bible records that he was blessed because of the presence of the ark. And the ark represents the presence of God. If you were in service today, you would remember that Bishop was talking about the relationship between man and his maker, which is man's relationship with God. And he mentioned that every other relationship is anchored on that relationship that we have with God, which is similar to what we discussed last week. And in that account, Bible says that when David heard that Obed-Edom had been blessed because of the ark, he sent for the ark to be brought to him, because he said, if this ark can bless the household of Obed-Edom, then I want that ark in my house. And as you grow, you would realize that a lot of things are hinged on your relationship with God. If not all things. I believe everything is anchored on your relationship with God. So don't take that relationship for granted. A lot of young people, we just go through life. We just cruise from Monday to Saturday, and then Sunday, we look for our church dress. We are in church, lifting our hands, shouting hallelujah. That is not what we mean by the presence of God. So you need to have a relationship with God. Imagine you have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and you only call the person maybe once a week. I'm sure you would question that relationship. Yes, sir. Or sometimes you even call the person only when you need something from the person. It's an unhealthy relationship. You need to have a constant relationship with God. So that is where we start from. That taking responsibility of your life starts from taking responsibility when it comes to your spiritual life. So you need to start from there. Don't joke with that at all. Then we move to talk about two concepts where we spoke about nature and nurture. And we said every one of us has an innate nature. So you were born a certain way. And we spoke about your temperaments. We spoke about the love languages. And we spoke about personality traits. And I mentioned that a lot of people know the temperaments and the love languages, but not a lot of people know the personality traits. And last week we spoke about it. I don't know if I should recap, but I think you would get it in the podcast. So let's not spend so much time on that. We spoke about the fact that the personality traits, you can use the acronym OCEAN. That is what psychologists have used for people to easily remember. So O stands for openness. And then C stands for a very big word which everybody struggled to mention last week. Conscientiousness. I won't mention it twice. I will only mention it once. We spoke about extraversion. We spoke about agreeableness. And we also spoke about neuroticism. And why did we speak about these things? When you go back home, try and spend some time to read about it. Right now there is AI, so you can just ask any of the chatbots what are the personality traits, and it will tell you what they are. It will give you the characteristics that underpin each of these, and try to look at where you belong. So each of them is a scale. So on the scale of openness, you are either high or low. So basically, openness are people who are open to experience, people who want to experience life. You know, they hear that, oh, they said they've opened a new place at Osu, you can go and do something. They will be like, hey, let's go. This weekend we are going. Or they say, oh, at a break, I'm going to do bungee jumping. Then they are like, Charlie, let's go. Let's go and jump. You know, like, these are people who have very high levels of openness. You could also be very low on openness. You are like, Charlie, me, my house, and myself. So you want to always stay reserved. You are more, someone who is not curious generally. Someone who is like, hey, bungee jumping. Why? If I jump and the rope doesn't hold me, what do I do? Then also, when we talk about conscientiousness, we are talking about people who are very self-disciplined, people who have high levels of organization. So people who say, oh, I want to do this. They do it and do it excellently. You know, people who like their house to be in a certain order. People who love excellence. Whatever they do, you see that this person is an excellent person. You know, no matter the task that you give them, they are very meticulous. Those are the kinds of people that are very high when it comes to conscientiousness. And they are people you can easily rely on. Then we talk about extraversion. Extraversion are people who are generally loud. They are people who are outgoing or easygoing. If you are friends with someone who is very high on that scale of extraversion, then you don't go to places with them and want to hide. You know, there are people who wear very loud colors. You know, they wear red, gold, yellow, you know, generally. I'm not saying because Elijah is wearing yellow, he's high on the scale. No, but there are people who generally like to be seen. You know, there are people who have 3 or 4 earrings, you know, their hair is, you know, those kinds of people. They generally like to be seen and recognized. Once they enter this place, you know, if we say, oh, make 3 friends, they are the people who come to you. You see, if we say make 3 friends, some people will wait for others to come to them. Some would also they will not even wait for you to say, oh, make 3 friends. They would have already befriended everybody in the place. Then we also have agreeableness. So people who are agreeable are people who have compassion and are very cooperative. So there are people who don't question things. So there are people who maybe they go to a shop and then let's say, or maybe they've bought something and let's say online they saw that the price is 50 cedis. When they went to the shop, they say, oh, now it's 80 cedis. An agreeable person wouldn't complain. They'll just pay the 80 cedis and go. But someone who is very low on agreeable, hey, no, you said it was 50 cedis online. Why are you saying? They will make a scene. So generally people who are not cooperative, you know, you tell them to do this, they want to do things the way they want to do it. So they are generally not agreeable, you know, So there are people who, they don't like to be cheated. If someone is very low when it comes to the scale of agreeableness, they don't like to be cheated. But an agreeable person, oh, enyeshe, fama nyame, you know, nyame nema, nyame neje, you know, those kinds of people are very agreeable people. Biggie says he's very agreeable. Then we have neuroticism. So neuroticism when we talk about neuroticism, it talks about your emotional stability. So it's a negative scale. So the higher you are, the more emotionally unstable you are. So if you are low on that scale, then you are very emotionally stable. So people who cannot control their emotions, people who get angry easily, people who generally are unstable when it comes to emotional issues, they are very, very high on that scale. But someone who is very emotionally composed, you know, like people who you scratch their car and they carry stone, they want to smash your car. Those are people who are very high on that scale. And we spoke about why this is important. Because you need to know where you belong. On each of the scales, you need to know where you belong. today Bishop mentioned a scripture and he said, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. We all heard that scripture, right? And he further asked that, can we actually do all things through Christ who strengthens us? And I was just excited about that because that is one of the things I wanted to talk about. And that is why I mentioned these things. You know, we spoke from love languages to temperaments to personality traits. When Bible says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, you have to be within the space of your strengths. Because for some people, they cannot come out of that ability. Do you understand? So when Bible says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, someone who is, let's say, a phlegmatic or a melancholy will generally struggle to sell anything to you. Do you understand? So if you have someone who is phlegmatic and Faith says she sells insurance. If you have someone who is melancholy or phlegmatic and they are trying to sell anything to you, you see that they are struggling. Sometimes you even want to help them that, so this thing, what does it do? You know, because they generally struggle to, flow with people. But someone who is, let's say, a sanguine. You meet a sanguine and let's say you're a man and she or he is selling heels. You will not even know when you are buying the heels. You are a man, but you buy the heels because they know how to vibe with people, and they will make you feel like, no, you need to buy this thing. And suddenly you realize that you are buying the thing. So within their strengths, you can see that they function very, very well when they are within their strengths. But that is not to say that if you are not naturally, let's say, endowed in a certain field, you cannot do it. You need more to do something that someone who is like a sanguine can easily do. So if you're a melancholy or you're phlegmatic, you will struggle to do things that someone who is sanguine can naturally do. So we are just saying that people who are within their strength zone can easily do certain things. If you, who is weak in that field, wants to do it, you would realize that you need to learn more. You need to be a bit more involved. There are people who are naturally born speakers. Some of us are not naturally born speakers. If you had met me, let's say 20 years ago, I will not even be able to stand in front of a fly to talk to the fly. You see, so I realized that I needed to invest in my speaking. I needed to, because I realized it's a skill that I need. Because you interact with people all the time. So you cannot say that, oh, me, I'm a shy person. I cannot talk in front of people. So because I realized that it is something I needed to invest in it. So if you don't know where you are strong and where you fall short, you will not know where to invest. So the books you read, the kind of podcasts you listen to should be informed from these things. So you need to know that I realize that on the scale of neuroticism, I am very weak because the least thing, I'm emotionally unstable. I'm insulting people. I am throwing things at people. So when you want to learn about something, it's a good place to learn, you see, because you know that you are emotionally unstable. And an emotionally unstable person, you don't say that is how I am. Like you're a ticking time bomb, so you don't settle and say, oh, maybe say, no. So you know that, you've realized that I fall short in these areas, you quickly have to now find out what books can I read when it comes to emotional intelligence. What podcast should I listen to? That is how you build yourself and you take responsibility for your life. It starts from knowing your strengths and your weaknesses. So when you go back home, spend some time on the love languages, on the temperaments, and on the personality traits. That way you can put together a small portfolio of yourself. And then you'll be like, all right, I probably need to learn more of this, more of that, more of that. And before I continue, let me mention this. Whenever you come for a School of Growth session, don't come and sit down and look at me. Otherwise, we'll throw you out. Everyone needs to write. Last week, you remember TJ said something. He said the shortest pencil is better than the best memory you can ever have. Because today you are listening, I'm not saying you are not hearing or you are not paying attention. But 2-3 weeks down the line, you realize that you have forgotten. In fact, the moment we close, when I ask you, what were the 5 personality traits that we mentioned, you see that you'll be struggling. So, at least your phone is there. So, if for nothing at all, write on your phone. But I generally don't advise that people write on their phones. And the reason is simple. Your phone has a lot of other things on it. So if you make notes on it and you want to refer to it, someone will send you a WhatsApp or you get a notification from Snapchat, and that is how you vanish from your notes. You realize that suddenly you've been swayed somewhere else. So let's take notes. Next time, I want everyone to have a notebook. And sometimes these things also, they are forms of learning and preparing for certain opportunities. There are some people, if you go and sit in front of them with your phone, they would see it as very disrespectful. And some time ago in a session we had, I spoke about the fact that we are dealing with different generations. So there is I think now, is it a Gen X or Gen what? Which generation is there now? I don't even know. But there is Gen Alpha, Gen Z, there are the millennials, there are the BBC, born before Christ. There are all manner of generations. If you work from home, you might probably not be interacting with a lot of people. But if you work in a certain space, I'm sure the last time I was speaking with Mary and then she said her office, the youngest person there is 45. So clearly you can see that it's a generation that was born before computers. So you cannot go and sit in front of such people and then when they are talking, you're on your phone. So one time we're in the office and then a lady who joined fresh was talking to my boss. And then me that I've worked there for over 10 years, I was holding my diary and my pen and then she was on her phone. So the man was speaking for a while and then he was like, what are you doing? Then I told him that, she's taking notes on her phone because he's not used to that. You see, they are used to, pen, paper. That is for taking notes. So I think I've made a point. So next time when we are having the session, I would inspect everybody's, right? Even if it's your phone, I want to see that it's your notes that you are taking. The other thing that I mentioned last week was nurture. So in addition to your nature, there is also your nurture, how you were brought up, the kind of neighborhood you grew up in, the kind of home you grew up in, the kind of school you attend. You would realize that people who attend mixed schools behave differently from those who attend single-sex schools. The people who grew up in neighborhoods where they could easily go to their neighbors' homes, you realize that they also behave differently from the people who grew up under lock and key. The gate opens at a certain time and it closes at a certain time. So if you go out beyond a certain time, you know what will follow you. So these things also shape you in ways that you cannot even imagine. So that is your nature. How you were brought up. Even the kind of teachers that taught you in school. There are some teachers, for instance, my maths teacher, you have to like mathematics. Otherwise, he will kill you. He will not allow you to say you are not good at mathematics. He will finish you in a class. So you have to force yourself to love math. But if you schooled in a place where the maths teacher is, let's say someone who, he will pick up, My maths teacher is not a matter. The cane is following you. 2 + 5, then the cane is behind you. So we used to dodge mental and things like that. But these things shape you in ways that you cannot even imagine. My English teacher was quite boring. So I never loved English. And for a very long time, I never loved English. I never loved reading because she never made it exciting for me. But my maths teacher, not because he made it exciting, but he will force you. So I'm more inclined to mathematics than English. And it is because of my nature, the school I went to. and the teacher I met at the time. So you might have gone to another school if you had encountered a certain set of teachers, from JSS, the kind of teachers that you met. If you had met another set of teachers, you could have moved to a certain school. Because of the teachers that you met at a certain time, you ended up in a certain school. And there too, you met a certain upbringing. You might have met some group of people who also moved you into a certain university. So don't think that things are just happening. Your nature is informing your choices. Your nature is also informing your decisions and your actions. So it is also important for you to understand which part of my upbringing I don't like. You might have grown up in a house where your dad beats your mom. And you might think it is normal to beat a woman because of that house that you grew up in. But when you find out that no, this is not normal, then you have to work on that thing to reverse engineer that nature that you have. You might have grown up in a house where only your mom took care of you. Your dad was generally absent. And maybe when you found out, they told you that your dad doesn't give us money. That in itself can affect a woman in ways that she cannot even imagine. So I know some people who, because of that environment, they don't, they keep their monies to themselves. So the woman, because she feels like one day my husband can leave me because of the home she grew up in, because her father left her mother and she was left with her mother alone and her mother struggled. So in her mind, I need to keep more money so that one day when my husband decides to leave, I can take care of myself and my children. Do you understand? It is not normal to think this way. It is just because she grew up in that kind of house. You get the point. So knowing these things helps you to shape your life in a good way, because you can take note of certain things that you have seen are coming from your upbringing, which is your nature, and you can correct them. Bible says that there is a spirit in man. If you read Job 38 verse 8, it says that there is a spirit in man and the inspiration of the Almighty gives him understanding. No matter the kind of nature you have or the kind of upbringing that you had, the Spirit of God is inside every one of us. And you can ask God to speak to that spirit that is in you, so that if there are certain negative tendencies that you have realized are coming from your nature or your nurture, the Spirit of God can correct these things so that you are more aligned to the Spirit of God. Because certain things are not normal. Don't assume that this is how I am, so it is normal. So you ask God to minister to your spirit, because Bible says that there is a spirit in man and the inspiration of the Almighty gives him understanding. So the Spirit of God is able to give you an understanding that helps you to correct the negativities that you want to get rid of. So take note of that. Now, we are speaking on how to take responsibility of your life. The next part of this discussion, I want everyone to take seriously, because these are going to give you actions to take. So it's important for you to take note of these things. The first thing is, if you want to, I wouldn't say the first thing, because we've spoken about a lot of things already, but under this part, what you should be mindful of is to start taking responsibility of your life. I entreat every one of us to take stock. So if you are writing, you can write it down. Start by taking stock. What we mean by taking stock? When we say take stock, what we mean is just sit with yourself and make notes. Usually people do that at the beginning of the year, in the middle of the year, on their birthdays, on special occasions. Whichever day you want to do that, it is up to you. I take stock every day. I don't know if you have the discipline to do that every day. So I'm a strong believer in daily living, looking at your day on a daily basis so that you don't wait 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, 5 years down the line, and then you are like, oh, Charlie, this is where I am. I don't like the way I am. So if you want to check your weight, for example, taking stock daily would help you correct certain things before it's too late. If you have decided that you want to read more, taking stock daily would help you because, I didn't read today. It means I have to read tomorrow. But if you are waiting for the beginning of the year, then you would have gone 365 days and you have not even read one page of any book. Depending on you, I don't know how frequently you want to take stock. The discipline depends on you. If you can do it daily, perfect. If you can do it weekly, hallelujah. If you can do it monthly, praise the Lord. Whichever one you can, try as much as possible. It was Socrates who said the unexamined life is not worth living. If you don't examine your life, I think you shouldn't be living. Because what exactly are you doing? People keep saying YOLO, you only live once. You don't only live once. You die once, but you live every day. So don't also go around saying that you only live once. So they can fool around like that. Because that's what it means. You only live once. And I think a lot of people have normalized that saying. But you don't only live once. You die once, but you can live every day. That is why we are starting from taking stock. You can do it at the beginning of the year. You can do it twice a year. You can also do it quarterly. You can do it monthly, or you can do it daily. I do mine daily. I don't know about you. So on a daily basis, I evaluate my life. How has this day been? What have I done that I don't want to repeat tomorrow? What have I done today that I think if I repeat tomorrow, it will be good for me? How have my relationships been today? My relationship with my wife, my relationship with my kids, my relationship with my friends. Have I offended anybody? Do I need to speak to anybody that I have offended? On a daily basis. That way, I get to correct things as I go. You don't wait for 2 years and you are like, oh, I need to do New Year resolution. New Year resolutions are beautiful. But if you don't take stock, you don't even know whether you are achieving what you have written down to achieve. We just started the second half of the year, so it's a good time to take stock. How has it been from January till June? What did I pen down to do this year? Have I done them? Which ones haven't I done? I need to take notes. Then you can make the necessary changes. Oh, from the beginning of the year till now, I mentioned that, I want to read more. I should have read 3 books by now. I've not even read chapter 1 of the first book that I started with. So quickly, you realize that no, then I need to go back. If you do it monthly, it helps. If you do it weekly, it's good. Daily is even better. So conduct regular reviews, like I mentioned, and then what do you take stock of? So here is where you know what to take stock of. Where you are today is as a result of the habits, the choices, the decisions, and the actions that you've taken. So what are the habits that you have formed in the past few days, in the past weeks, in the past few months, in the past year, in the past 6 months? What habits have I formed? These are what you take stock of. So what habits have I formed? What are the choices I have made so far? What are the decisions I have taken? What actions have I executed so far? So when we say take stock, these are the things that you take stock of. So you realize that, these habits that I have formed, is it serving me well? Is it helping me to achieve my goals? Or it is rather taking me back? You've realized that, suddenly you are eating at 11 p.m. and you have a goal to lose some weight by the end of the year. If you take stock, you realize that no, this habit of eating at 11 p.m. is not helping me. So I need to correct it. What are the choices that I have made so far this year? I made a choice to go out with this guy or this woman. But I've realized that it's not a healthy relationship. It's always one fight after the other. I'm not able to study more the way I want to study. I feel like I am retrogressing in my work. I'm not able to do this, do that, do that. You quickly realize that no, this relationship is not taking you anywhere. You know, Bible says I will make a help meet for him. So if someone is helping you, it means the person should be taking you forward, not bringing you back. So you take stock of all these things. What actions have I taken so far that have not been good for me? Once you take stock, you realize, okay, then I need to change this. I need to do this. I need to do that. So whilst you are taking stock of previous habits, decisions, choices, actions, you are also making notes of those that you want to continue with. So you are also adding new things that you probably want to adopt. So if your habits are taking you back, you probably need to put on new habits. You probably need to correct some of these things that you find yourself doing. Then number 2, the first is to start by taking stock. Number 2 is to eliminate distractions. Eliminate distractions. So things that are derailing your productivity, you need to eliminate them. So if you read James Clear's book, Atomic Habits, James Clear talks about the fact that your environment is stronger than willpower. So if you want to do anything, if you want to achieve anything, you need to, let me say, sanitize your environment. So your environment does more to you than your willpower. Oh, I want to go jogging tomorrow. That is willpower. I want to go jogging tomorrow. But what is your environment? Your environment is that your sneakers and your gym wear or your running gear are under your wardrobe somewhere. So when you wake up at 5 a.m., that you said, oh, you are going jogging. You're like, oh, Charlie, this jogging car, do I want to go? So you quickly realize that your environment has overpowered your willpower. Or I want to do my devotion every morning. But when you wake up in the morning, your phone is by your side. And you take your phone, there are 42 messages. Willpower versus environment. Which one wins? Your environment would immediately win. Because once you take your phone and you see 42 messages, quickly you realize that no, I have to check. Oh, what has happened? Then you see messages from Ethel or messages from Maureen. Then quickly you're on Snapchat. That is how the first 1 hour of your day is gone down the drain. Just scrolling and replying messages. So environment. I want to do my devotion every morning. So I don't go to bed with my phone. My phone is in the next room. So when I wake up, the first thing I do is I go to the washroom, wash my face, take my notebook, my Bible. I go downstairs. I'm going to do my devotion before I do any other thing. So I'll take my phone after I'm done with my devotion. Even if I want to take my phone, maybe I want to listen to a podcast that morning, or I want to listen to a sermon that morning. So it is not next to me. So when I take my Bible, that's when I take my phone. So that one I know that this is why I'm taking my phone. Do you understand what I mean? So I always want to go jogging on Saturday mornings. So before I go to bed on Friday night, I take out my outfits for the jogging. I'll take my shirts, my shorts, my sneakers, and then I put it next to my bed. So the moment I wake up, they are there. So it's motivation enough. So sometimes I'll hear the thunder, it's like it's about to rain. I get into my gear. Rain hasn't killed anybody before. But the moment I wake up and I don't see them, and I see my phone, then, oh, what has happened? You know, by the time I see, I've done 1 hour on the phone and the jogging has fallen inside water. So you see, you can sanitize your environment. I decided I wanted to drink more water. So what I did was I bought a pack of water and put it in my office. And I put it next to me. I didn't put it in a drawer. I put it next to me. And the moment I sit in the office, once I sit on my chair, I see the water. So I take one and I put it on the table. Once it's on the table, I'll drink it. Once it finishes, I throw it away. I take the second one and I put it on the table. My environment is overshadowing my willpower. So now, or let me say, my environment is reinforcing my willpower. So if you want to do anything, you want to stop watching pornography, but it's on your laptop. You understand? So the moment you open your laptop, what would you likely do? You would go and watch those videos. So you want to correct that behavior. So you start by deleting the videos from the laptop. So that once you take your laptop, there are other things that you want to use your laptop for. So you make those ones readily available for you. You know, so that is how you eliminate distractions, by sanitizing your environment. So whilst you take stock, you also take note of the things that you want to reinforce. And then you build the environment such that it reinforces your willpower rather than negate it. So whatever you want to, and you I've tried to give as many examples so that you can see that whatever you want to do, you can improve that with your environment. You know, so you're a fashion designer. Let's use Esther as an example. You're a fashion designer. You want to sew more, or you want to learn more about fashion. Which pages do you follow on Instagram? Which pages do you follow on TikTok? So that even as you're on social media, you are scrolling and it is reinforcing your willpower, because you see more of people sewing, people doing more designs, so you are inspired. But if you are following comedians, then all you do is you laugh, which is also good. Laughter is like medicine. So you laugh, it's good, but it's not enforcing what you want to achieve. It's rather derailing you. So you can eliminate distractions and sanitize the environment such that it rather reinforces what you want to do. Any questions so far? I think I've been speaking for a while. Any questions? Then again, you remember we spoke about temperament. So knowing your temperament also helps you see that you are prone to certain distractions than other people. Someone who is melancholy or phlegmatic, they are more likely to pick up a book to read than a sanguine. A sanguine is someone who is always excited. Like, they just want to chat, they want to hang out with people. And if you're a sanguine and you want to read, then you need to do more. You understand? A melancholy generally is reserved. So they are more likely to pick up a book to read with no distractions. Same for the phlegmatics. But a sanguine, Charlie, they are hyper. They want to hang out, good vibes. They want to channel their energy in places. So if you are sanguine and you want to read, you realize that you start a book and you never finish, because other things will distract you easily. Number 3. Yes, there's a question. Yes, Ethel. Yes. So if you want to take stock, you don't take stock mentally. You need to write it down. So the reason you write it down is so that you can refer to it and so that you can also monitor progress. So if you write down that I want to read, let's say 5 books in the year, when you are taking stock, you refer to it. You see that, I said I was going to read 5 books. Maybe you even wrote the books that you wrote. So when you are taking stock, you realize, I haven't read this. I've read this one. So this is the next book I read. Now, the more you write, the more powerful you become as a person, because writing does a lot to you. Writing helps you to concentrate, and it helps you to also improve your ability to think. if you're not someone who frequently writes, you'd realize over time that your thinking ability also dwindles. So you need to be someone who writes frequently. So if an idea comes to you, you need to write it down. So if you look at my notes on my phone, I've called it Life Principles 2023, 2024, Life Principles 2025, Life Principles 2026. I'm always writing. So I don't like to lose an idea, because, you can hear something very wonderful, and today you realize that, this is wow. 3 weeks down the line, you forget it. And I'm constantly referring to them, and I have lots of screenshots from things that I want to remember. So most of the things that are taking space on my phone are screenshots. So whatever I see that this is a very brilliant idea, I screenshot it and keep it. And then every now and then I go back and then I just I can watch my screenshots for like 1 hour, and it's just learning, because that is how I've created my screenshots. So you see that I have, maybe at the end of the session, if you are interested, I can take you through some of my screenshots so that you see that it's not that I'm vibing you. So I screenshot things I want to remember. And it's also because there could be a time you can be asked to do something. So for instance, if you ask me to come and speak to, let's say, married couples, all I need is like 5-10 minutes. I'll just go to my screenshots. It can help me put together something brilliant to share. If you ask me to speak to, let's say, BC students, I can go to my screenshots or my notes. So screenshots, my notes, and then my notebook itself. I make a lot of notes. And I don't just make notes when I'm coming to talk to people. So I generally like to make notes so that you see, the brain is such that the more you don't use it, it gets dull. You see, someone said something, and it's even a screenshot I have on the phone. I just remembered. He said, it's only the brain that doesn't inform you when it's empty. Your stomach will. You hear your stomach will be doing you something. Then you realize, child, I need to eat. But the brain will not inform you. The time the brain would inform you, it will be disgraceful, because you realize that they are talking and then they ask, what's your opinion? Then you realize that, Charlie, there's nothing in the head. So when your brain is starving, it doesn't inform you, but it will disgrace you. So I advise people to generally learn and to grow. Not because of other people, but so that whilst you are walking through life, you realize that, I know this thing. I know that thing. So I know so many things about different things, not because I need to, but just so that you don't dull the mind. So sometimes when I'm on social media and I see something that is interesting, I'm like, I don't know this thing. I need to find out. Then I learn about it just so that I know. And the more you learn, last week we heard from TJ, the more you learn, the more you grow. If you are not learning, you are not growing. If you are not growing, you are dying. I wrote it down in my notebook. So it was something I heard before, that if you are not learning, you are not growing. I added that if you are not growing, you are dying. So it's something that I have in my notes. I can show you after the session. Ethel, your question is answered, right? Yes.
Regarding the second point, being aware of your environment and global, what of those environments are restricted as if you are not within their control?
So when you say they are not within your control, it's hard for me to believe that there could be an environment that is not within your control. So even if it is not within your control, you can to a large extent influence it. So let me give you an example. I want to study more. So there's a course I'm taking. So because I want to study more, my house has become unconducive for me to study, because I have kids. And for my kids, there's no privacy. Wherever you are, they will come there. So I realized that Saturdays are very long. So Saturdays, I have the whole day. If I don't have a wedding or a funeral, then the whole day is there for me. But from the beginning of the day to the end, you might realize that, you are chasing this person here, you are chasing this one there, you are doing this, you are doing that, the day is gone. So it is not within my control. But what did I do about it? I went to pay membership for a library. And the moment I paid the membership, I attend, and I'll come every Saturday. So I committed myself so that I don't say that, oh, Saturdays is not within my control. So then the whole Saturday is gone. So immediately when I paid every Saturday, once I go for my jogging or whatever I want to do in the morning, by 9 o'clock, I'm out of the house. I'm in the library. I'll come back around 5. Then I can spend the time with the family. So one of the reasons you take stock is so that you also look at how best you can influence the environment. So it could look like it's not within your control, but the moment you start writing, you realize, oh, because when I took stock, I realized I was wasting the Saturdays a lot. So as I started writing, you can ask the people who are close. I started asking. I asked Maureen, oh, is there a place I can go and study? So you remember I asked you that question. I asked Michael. I asked a couple of people. And then someone pointed me to the children's library at Jowulu. So I said, okay. So one day I just went there, made inquiries, and then I paid. So I committed myself. So if you don't take the stock, you will not even know how to address it. So that is why I said right. If it's in your mind, you could say, oh, Charlie, I can't do anything about this. But when you start writing, I have a study room in my house. Michael uses my study room more than myself. And I'm sure it's because maybe in his house, he cannot have that space to study the way he wants to study. So you see him in the house, in the study room, then you hijack my study room. So I have realized that he has seen that he can't do it in his house. So he comes to do it in my house. Do you get my point? So just writing things down, it helps you to start thinking because you've now taken a pen and paper. Okay, so I want to study more. What do I do? When I was in school, I realized that libraries and things were not for me. And we're just two in the room. So I organized my studies around my roommate's movements. So I realized, oh, he goes to lectures and he stays long. So those times, I spend the time in my room. The days maybe I want to study and he's there, that's when I go to the library. So you can find ways and means around it. And I'm sure as you write and you try certain things, it helps you improve on what you've written. Oh, I realized, oh, I could do it this way. I tried it. It didn't work. So the next time you are taking stock, you refer to what you wrote previous and you realize that, oh, this one didn't work. Let me try this one. Does that help?
Yes.
Any other question? So we are beginning to wrap up. The third point that I want to talk about is leverage on your skills or be within your strength zone. Be within your strength zone or leverage on your skills. Be within your strength zone. It's something I learned from James Clear. He spoke about the fact that if you want to do well for yourself, leverage on your skill sets, leverage on your abilities. What comes natural to you? You know, what are you able to do easily than other people? Wherever you find yourself, like personally, I know that I'm more inclined to mathematics than English. So I leveraged on that skill. I decided to do more mathematics than English. Although you cannot do without English. So English still comes along. But I decided to leverage on that skill because that is where my strength is. So if you are someone who reads a lot, if you are someone who is very good at reading and you easily remember things, then you leverage on that ability and you do more reading stuff. But me, I know that the reading is so I quickly went to where I feel stronger, you know, Now, even in the workplace, you leverage on your skill sets. What comes easily to you? There are some people who, I'm not saying this is a good thing, but there are some people who know that they have very good people skills. So you see that they don't do anything, but then when there is favor, they are favored. Have you realized that there are people like that? They leverage on their, social, strength. So you see that when they come to work, they are vibing with everybody, even the big men, they feel very comfortable around them. They too, that's their skill. That's what they've seen that's a bit bomb. So they leverage on that. I will not advise you to do that. You are there to work, so you do the work and do it to your best ability. But I'm just even telling you that people even leverage on something like that to progress in at the workplace. Do you get a point? So leverage on your skill set. And it goes back to the stock taking. What are you generally good at? If you cannot identify it yourself, ask people, ask your friends, what do they think you are good at? And then leverage on that skill, because it is the skills that you have in a particular area that helps you make progress easily. If you are in a place where you are generally weak, you struggle. So David met Goliath, and Goliath told him, come, let's fight. You come at me with stones. And then he told David, you come, you think you are sure, you come. And why was Goliath saying that? Because if you read ancient history, there are people called projectile warriors, and there are people called infants. Is it infantry? I'll find out. Yes, infantry. It's infantry, right? Yes. So, and then there are foot soldiers. There are different people. So when you look at the ancient battle line, you see that there are some people with a bow and arrow. And those bow and arrow people, they don't come close to you. I mean, you are coming to shoot someone, right? You are holding bow and arrow. They will come, if they are coming face to face, it's usually with a sword. The people who use the arrows, they fire it from a distance. Now, Goliath was that foot soldier who uses the sword. David was a projectile warrior. He shoots from afar. So that was his skill set. So both of them had separate skill sets. So Goliath said, come to me within my comfort zone. Let's fight. And David said, well, too bad. My skill set is from afar, and I know I can defeat you from afar. So quickly David started, and then whom? Goliath came down. There's no way David would have beaten Goliath if he went straight to him. Do you understand? Think about it. How did David kill the bear and the lions? How do you think David killed the bear and the lion? Have you seen a bear and a lion before? There's no way David would stand a chance if he faces them. But he used that skill set, which is the projection. He projects from afar. So before you get to him, he has killed you. Do you understand? So find out what is your strong set of skills. Where do you find it easy to operate? That way you can leverage on that skill set so that you don't find yourself struggling. You are phlegmatic. Why are you doing sales? You can't survive. Do you understand? So you realize that if you have sales targets, you would always be struggling. But you see that the sanguine can easily sell. Like, if a sanguine enters this place right now and they are selling, let's say, heels, they'll find a way to sell to everybody. Even the men will buy. You buy for your mother, you buy for your sister, or you buy for somebody. Because they'll find a nice way to, rope you in, and suddenly you feel like, oh, if I don't buy this thing, I've not done well at all, then you buy it. So knowing your strength helps you. So there are some people who are gifted with speaking. So you find them doing MCs, they are doing speaking engagements, radio presenters, and so on and so forth. There are basketball players who are short, but you realize that most basketball players are tall, because for the tall person, it's very easy for them to put the ball in. If you are short, you need to do extra. You need to jump high and stuff like that, In fact, Kevin Hart is a very good basketball player, although he's short. I don't know if any of you have seen him play. He's really good. But he had to, train harder or something like that. Unlike, let's say, I think Michael B. Jordan is tall, right? No, Michael Jordan. He's quite tall. And so, what did he say?
He's short, but not among that.
Steve Curry is quite short. He's not too tall.
But short,
He's short. He's tall. Very good. So there are a couple of questions that I can give that you can ask yourself. So there are questions that I got from John Maxwell. So I'll read those questions out to you, and you can use those questions when you are taking stock. So the first question that you can ask yourself is, am I investing in myself? So this is a personal growth question. So are you investing in yourself on a daily basis? If you invest in yourself through books, podcasts, YouTube learning videos, so you can ask yourself, am I investing in myself? If I'm not, how can I invest in myself? Which area should I invest in? The second question is, am I genuinely interested in others? So this is a question about passion, and you will lose integrity if you contribute to things that you don't like. So the more you do things that you don't like, you lose your integrity. So you need to ask yourself, am I genuinely, sorry, that's the third question. The second question is, am I genuinely interested in others? And this is a motive question, sorry. So you need to place others above yourself. So the more you help others, if I'm helping you climb a mountain, if you get to the top, where would I be? I would also be at the top, or at worst close to the top. So the more you help other people, the closer you also get to the top. So that's the second question. The third question is, am I doing what I love and loving what I do? Am I doing what I love and loving what I do? So this is coming to the skills issue that we spoke about. So if you are looking at your passion, what are you passionate about? Is that where you find yourself? That's when I said your integrity will be lost if you start doing things that you dislike. You lose your integrity. The fourth one is, am I investing my time with the right people? Am I investing my time with the right people? So this talks about the fact that, Bible says that evil company corrupts good manners, but he who walks with the wise shall be wise. So you are looking at the kind of people that you find yourself with. If you are working with 5 fools, unfortunately you are the sixth one. So you find out who is within your inner circle. If the people close to you would determine whether you make progress or not. So you need to invest in healthy relationships. The fifth one is, am I staying in my strength zone? We spoke about this in the session, your skill set. So am I staying in my strength zone? So this is looking at effectiveness. So you need to stop working on your weaknesses, and then you start working on your strengths in the area of skill. So what are your strengths? Focus on that strengths and build your strengths in that manner. The sixth one is, am I taking others to a higher level? So am I taking others to a higher level? I told someone that you are either a plus or a minus in people's lives. So if you are a minus, it means you are drawing people back. But if you're a plus, then you are adding to people's lives. It's good to add to people. It's good to add value to people. Number 7, am I taking care of myself? Am I taking care of myself? Am I taking care of myself? So you are asking, you are looking at your health, you are looking at your spiritual life, you are looking at your physical life. Are you taking care of yourself? Are you taking care of today? And if you don't value your time now, you would find that you would be repairing down the road. So are you preparing or you are repairing? Whatever you are doing today, you are either preparing for tomorrow or repairing yesterday. So I would entreat everyone to prepare rather than repair, because the cost of repair is costly. Pastor Jones says it a lot, that it is better to prepare than to repair. The 8th one is, am I taking time to think? Am I taking time to think? A minute of thought is better than an hour of work. If you don't think good, then don't think too much. So pay attention to your thoughts. Your thoughts influence your actions. So if you don't correct your thoughts, you find that your actions are also deteriorating. The 9th one is, am I developing others? So this is about legacy. So the reason we are doing this is because we are developing ourselves. So always try to develop others. Find out, are you leaving a legacy? That's why we told people to look for people to mentor. so that you can develop other people to also become better versions of themselves. And the last one is, am I pleasing God? So this is a question on eternity. So are you pleasing God? Whatever you are doing, is it in line with what is expected of the Christian? The Christian walk is a daily walk. So are you walking the path of the believer? Are you pleasing God? Are you pleasing your Maker? So I think this should bring us to the end of today's session. I think if you are clapping, you can clap.
Thank you for joining us on today's episode of the School of Growth podcast. If you enjoyed our conversation, don't forget to subscribe for more insightful content. Your support means the world to us, and we look forward to having you with us next time. Until then, take care and keep growing.